Scottsbluff County facing a $4 million shortfall in funding to meet proposed budgets. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, Scottsbluff County commissioners and department heads this week formally started budgetary work with workshops reviewing the proposed spending for the coming fiscal year. Very preliminary figures showed a $4.2 million difference between last year's tax asking of $13.5 million and what would be needed from property taxes to meet budgets as originally submitted. One of the departments needing additional funding is the assessor's office, which Assessor Simpson explained was due to the need to hire an outside firm to perform a full commercial and industrial property assessment that's now overdue.
My original budget, when you saw it, had a budget of $400,000 for the actual commercial reappraisal. After thinking about it, I thought we could change the timing a little bit and do half in this fiscal year, towards the end of this fiscal year, and put the other half in the beginning of next year's fiscal budget.
Several other departments are also looking at the need for more property tax revenue to meet their proposed needs, including the county court, sheriff and detention center, roads, and the comm center. Commissioner Mark Harris expressed the general mood of the board to keep any property tax increase at no more than 2.5% and avoid the joint meeting for districts that go higher than that figure. The budgeting work will be impacted once property valuations are certified later this month. Well, Gering Public School students will be starting their new school year on Monday, but Scottsbluff Public School students return for the start of their new year on Thursday. Ahead of the start, Superintendent Dr. Andrew Dick told KNEB News there were 5 key things they wanted families to know for the new school year.
And then number one, we want to remind our parents that we did make some changes to our start and end times with the goal of this to provide more equitable planning time for teachers across the district. And so our elementary day was reduced by 10 minutes. And so if you haven't seen that information yet, please check out our website, contact your school, look at many of the communications that we've sent out about that.
He said the 4 other important changes to note include Bear Cub Preschool, now serving 5-year-olds, with openings still available. The district will be partnering with the YMCA for a day camp on no school days, updates on facility projects that continue across the district, and free virtual tutoring available through Nebraska Smart. And as school districts begin to kick off the new school year, there will be an increase of pedestrian traffic in and around the city throughout the school and work week. Police caution motorists to be aware of the increased number of children and to remain vigilant when approaching intersections controlled by crossing guards and stop when signaled. Parents are also urged to know the routes their kids are taking to school, make sure they use sidewalks and crosswalks to avoid strangers, and talk with their school to authorize who is allowed to pick up your child. We'll have more news right after this.
Looking for free instead of fees? Platte Valley Bank can help you keep your finances moving forward with no ATM fees. Whether you're headed to the lake, the mountains, or just to the grocery store, you can enjoy the freedom of free ATM access anywhere, anytime. Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
When it comes to your health, you deserve the very best. At Morrill County Community Hospital, they provide top-notch care with compassion and expertise. From routine checkups to advanced surgeries, their dedicated team is here for you 24/7. With state-of-the-art technology and a patient-first approach, they ensure you and your loved ones receive the highest quality care. Because at Morrill County Community Hospital, your health is their priority. Visit Morrill County Community Hospital today in Bridgeport. Morrill County Community Hospital. Exceptional care right here at home.
Welcome back. An Alliance drug dealer has been sentenced to a lengthy prison term following several meth-related convictions. In 2 separate Scottsbluff County District Court cases, 35-year-old Ruben Mendez pleaded no contest to 2 counts of possession of meth between 28 and 139 grams and 1 count of delivery of an exceptionally hazardous drug. Mendez was the target of a Wing Drug Task Force investigation where he sold 4 ounces to 1 pound of meth to a CI over the course of 4 controlled buys. In that case, he was sentenced to 5 to 15 years in prison on the 2 convictions. In the other case, officers observed him get out of a car several times throughout Scottsbluff County, where it was discovered he was dropping bags of methamphetamine. In that case, an additional 5 to 10 year prison sentence was tacked on, which will run consecutive to the first sentencing. In total, it will be a 10 to 25 year prison sentence. And court proceedings for the 87-year-old Kimball Motel owner accused of shooting a guest has been continued as her attorneys have requested a competency evaluation. Leota Kant was arrested on Halloween and faces charges of attempted murder and use of a firearm to commit a felony. NSP investigators say when authorities arrived, they found a male subject with multiple gunshot wounds and was transported to Regional West Medical Center with non-life-threatening injuries. District Judge Derek Weimer approved the motion for the competency evaluation and set an October 1st hearing. In April, her attorney said they had planned to rely on the defense of not responsible by reason of insanity.
Welcome to Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. Whether you're a wine enthusiast, a whiskey sommelier, a tequila connoisseur, or you just love your beer, Kelly's has the best selection of what you're looking for. Family owned and operated since 1946 and right on 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Come see us today at Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. And remember to be a good neighbor. Don't drink and drive. Kelly's Liquor, West 27th Street in Scottsbluff.
Fly United Airlines, operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights. While at the airport, stop and enjoy authentic Italian food at Roma Italian Restaurant. Plus, Hertz Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. Make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
I imagined retirement in a place where we could enjoy our golden years, where adventure and friendship are the only items on the schedule. The Garden Homes at Northfield gives us the luxury we planned for and peace of mind when it comes to convenience, safety, and comfort. We never have to stop and think about the day-to-day upkeep. We love to explore abroad, but most importantly in our backyard. So much to do, so much to see. Here at Northfield, we get the protection of life care, incredible tax benefits, and secured rates for aging services. It's peaceful, knowing that if our needs change, we'll be taken care of. And most importantly, that our kids will never have to make any tough decisions. There never seemed to be enough time to do all the things we wanted. Now we get to focus our energy on enjoying what this community has to offer. At the Garden Homes, life is ours again. A place we had dreamed about. A chance to focus on us.
The incredible Renewal by Andersen Dog Days of Summer Sale is here, and I will sit up and shake for this one. It's the best offer ever for new windows and doors. Please listen to this. You get 20% off, an additional 5% off if purchased on the initial consultation. No payments for 24 months, 2 whole years, no payments. Please visit rbawyoming.com. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation. Don't wait. This deal ends August 31st. 2 years, no payments. That's doggone awesome.
This is KNEB.TV Ag News from the Scottsbluff Body and Paint Ag Desk. Scottsbluff Body and Paint, you're driving home a reputation.
Welcome to this week's Cattle Call. I'm Susan Littlefield on the Rural Radio Network. Before we even dive into the discussions, I give a big shout out and thank you to those folks who have continued to watch and share our program. All your shares and comments are so much appreciated. And if you do want to ask a question of Brad, don't hesitate to reach out as well. Well, no Armageddon this week or coming out of last week. Where are we moving forward? Perception versus reality. What is happening? I think that's going to be a big part of our discussion today as we see some decent numbers moving through the trade. And as I mentioned, Brad joins us. Brad Koima is with Koima Varlick out of Sioux Center, Iowa. So let's start out there. Perception versus what is happening in this cattle complex.
I think that's a great question, Susan. Thanks again for having me on. I enjoy this a lot. Yeah, I can't imagine why anybody want to listen to this program. A face made for radio, right?
You and me both.
Yeah. Okay, so your comment about perception versus reality, I think, is spot on this week because of what's going on in the cash cattle market. And what I mean by that is expectations compared to what actually happens. It's no different than a crop report. Okay, we all knew what the guess was for what we thought the corn yield was going to be, and then it came in bigger than that. And you got and the bean deal. That's how you react. What real compared to what they expected, what the trader expected. Well, for 2 weeks in a row now, cash has been 2 to 3 lower a week. Per week. And if you asked anybody, me included, on Monday morning, what's cash going to be this week? Well, I suppose 1 to 2, maybe 2 to 3 lower again. It seems like we kind of lost our nerve in the feedlot, and basis traders are willing to take lower bids because futures are breaking. Roll back here a week. We'd had that Friday wreck and a Monday wreck on the stock market. Iran is, rattling sabers and this from a week to now there's a lot of difference in the market. So what if it isn't 2 to 3 lower? I mean, the cash market, and I don't think it's going to be. Okay, I think it's going to. I'm stupid enough to make these wild guesses, right? I think cash is going to be closer to steady. So if it's steady, that's way different than the perception here, and you'll get a reaction out of futures. And I think that's part of what you're getting here already. I think that perhaps the Packers feeling like, oh shucks, I'm losing grip again on this giant beach ball that wants to, pop up out of the water. And again, I know we talked a little bit last time here about the similarities of this year to 2014. Broke the market 8 to 10% the last week of July until the middle of August. From a big price, and this is after a 3-year cow liquidation. That's what we did in 14, right? 11, 12, 13 big droughts. Same thing. Sound familiar? Big cow liquidation, have the same break. It's odd almost to the day, where we have the sell-off. And then come ripping back in October or in the 2014 deal to make new highs by $30. So I don't know. At the risk of, I don't want you guys to go nuts and do something that is poor risk management. But boy, the thing feels good to me, and it feels good to me because the perception that we've got a bunch of cattle here in the north is not accurate in my view. We do not have big cattle here in my backyard. This is a farmer-fed deal. Middle of August, it would be very common to have all kinds of 1,600-pound steers. We don't have any of those. None of those. Right. In fact, you'd have to look hard to find a 1,500-pound fat steer here right now. So we'll see. Let's see if we can dodge the black swan stuff. But look at the stock market where it's at compared to a week and a half ago. Box beef's up about $5 from where it was last Wednesday. I don't know. I think they're not so bad.
So before we jump into that lack of Armageddon, which I'm okay with, we do have a viewer question that came with the fact that he says, Brad always says the cattle, start and finish right there in Iowa. We know the North is very current. He said, my question to Brad is, are we going to have to import cattle from Oklahoma and Texas to be able to fill the needs that we need here?
You're starting to see, I would say short answer would be yes, but that'd be disappointing, right? You never get a short answer out of me. Sorry about that. But that is a characteristic of a bull market when you start to see that exporting of cattle from one region to the next. Without mentioning any names, that is widespreadly being done already with one packer, pulling cattle out of Kansas, especially out into Nebraska. I talked to somebody today that sold cattle last week that are going to Souderton, Pennsylvania. Okay. Now that'd be a hike. So what happens usually, Susan, is that the fringe, if you want to call it the fringe areas, the cattle belt, if I can use that phrase, those are the ones that usually run out first, right? The farmer feeder usually is a little more stubborn. He's got cattle. Some of us are dumb enough to feed cattle regardless, it seems like, of what market conditions are. And then you have the corporate outfits in the South, which, I always contend that, have these deals. So they seem to be a little more impervious to maybe market fluctuations than some of us. They usually, there seems to be a core of supply there. So Yeah, my good friend Charlie Navane was one that coined that phrase, that every market begins and ends in Iowa. And if I look around here, I would hope that every now and then it pays to have dirt on your boots. And I don't think that there's a big supply of cattle out here.
So what about this whole Armageddon thing? We know last week, I think everybody was checking their stock markets and also checking their grain prices and the cash that was happening there. It didn't come to fruition like you mentioned, but as we see the ebb and flows in these market trade, how do we as cattle producers prepare ourselves?
Great question. C+ answer probably coming. That's why I want to be careful about, somebody going like, well, that guy, sounded like he was bullish, right? So is it, did they put up the all clear sign on it? Was there going to be a recession? Of course not. Is there still risk out there? This is over my pay grade. I'm a cattle guy, but do you think you can really have a great economy with 8.5%, 9% interest? You can't find employees. You got layoffs, John Deere, et cetera, et cetera. Got an election, wild card, right? Iran, Israel, wild card. There's stuff out there, So how do you navigate that deal? Typically, I'm not much of an options guy personally, but I'm a broker. There's no high risk. I'm stupid with how much risk I'm willing to take, but the producer shouldn't be that stupid. So there are things like options. There are things like LRPs. I do not let 2015 happen to you again. That's what that's the note I've got stuck up here. It's a reminder to me because I went through that deal. We had 14, we got into May of 15, and then we didn't have, it was no good for a year and a half. And really no good, so still use your head, get some stuff on there. Most of us can afford a small loss, do something like that. But if there was ever a time where the market had upside potential because of what the supply side situation looks like, it is now. And this whole notion that demand's so poor, give me a break. 20% of the exports, 20% of our beef movement last week was for exports. It's fine. Domestic demand, I don't know, boxes just rallied $5.50 or $5, but yeah, we're going into that Labor Day deal. But to say that they're advertising $10.99 for ribeyes here in my hometown, that's not too high, So I think the market's got some hope, but use your head, right?
All right, not to be the burr under your saddle. As we look at the latest that came out from the USDA yesterday, we're talking Tuesday, they said they're now going to start testing beef for avian influenza as well. But again, stressing to consumers in their comments, this is still safe to eat, but we're still going to test and spend the money.
I'm counting to 10. That's what my mother taught me to do. Okay. This is so epically stupid. It just about is hard to even comment on. Let's see. We can't find $500,000 to have a July inventory report, a report that would be critical to all of us producers, right? All the way down to the cow-calf guy. He's going to help make decisions by having a July inventory report. How many cows do we really have? How many heifers are we saving? But we can find money to test beef that's perfectly safe. We cook this stuff. I'm sorry, but the way they throw money around for stupid causes, it just defies my imagination. But I apologize if that offended somebody at the USDA, but this is a complete waste of time and a misuse of money. In my opinion, it could be much better spent on other things.
All right. Hopefully the market doesn't get all fluttered about it. And we
can you test long enough to look for something, you're going to probably find something, right? It's like, that's the frustration to me. But
all right, Brad, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you guys?
712-722-0023 is the phone, or look us up on kkvtrading.com.
All right, that has been this week's Cattle Call. Quick reminder, commodity futures and options do involve a substantial risk of loss not suitable to all investors. And that's the Cattle Call on the Rural Radio Network.
You deserve to have a building that will last for generations. With more than 110 years of experience and thousands of satisfied customers, Morton Buildings is the industry leader you can trust. If you're planning for a garage, farm shop, horse barn, storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, there's no better time to buy. Contact your local Morton sales office or visit mortonbuildings.com. to get started today.
Let's take a peek at your weekend community calendar brought to you by Riverstone Bank. The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. We're local and we love our community.
Tri-City Stormwater presents Stormwater 101, an illicit discharge.
Tired of feeling stuck? Not sure if you are on the right track? Platte Valley Bank can help keep your finances moving forward with checking account options to fit your lifestyle and an online account chooser to make finding the right account easy. Control your financial future with helpful budgeting tools and automatic savings plans. Now is the time to enjoy the ride with Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
And finally tonight, the Nebraska Department of Transportation, Nebraska State Patrol, and the Lincoln Police Department held a press event this week to launch the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over mobilization taking place now through September 2nd. State Patrol Colonel John Bullock said it was time to close out the summer safely and work together to make Nebraska roadways safe.
But to do that, we've all got to work together to make Nebraska roadways safe. The State Patrol and our local partners will be working together to keep travelers safe by reducing the number of impaired drivers on the road. Troopers, deputies, and officers will be working overtime over the next couple of weeks as part of this mission. The Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign is simple. Plan for a sober driver every time you get into a vehicle or get pulled over.
The campaign is made possible thanks in part to a $36,000 grant from the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office. Any motorist who observes a dangerous driver can report it to the NSP Highway Helpline by calling star 55 to reach an NSP dispatcher. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe out there. We'll see you back here on Monday.